And now, Dane Forgione with a spoken word piece. Friesen rests his head on a pillow made of concrete. Again. Oh, Phelan. Maybe he'll see a little better set of days. Oh, yeah. Oh, Handout. Faces that he sees time again ain't that familiar. Oh, yeah. Oh, Dark Grin. He can't help when he's happy, he looks insane. Yeah. Huh. So that's what he's been saying all those years. Episode 31 of The Performers I Know. Special guest, Phoenix Gray, coming at you. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are performers I know. Oh, yeah, here we go. Everybody in the house. It is the performers I know. This is episode number 31. Oh, yes.
I remember 31.
So do I. It was such a very long time ago. That voice you just heard is my guest this week. They are an accomplished performer, singer.
Oh,
Yes, and they are here as my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the incomparable Phoenix Gray. Phoenix, welcome to the show.
hi. How's
Oh,
it
yeah.
going?
Oh, I'm feeling like a big old box of fluffy ducks, just having a wonderful day, even though it is raining outside currently where I am. But that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it helps the grass grow. So, once upon a time in 2020, I met Phoenix in the Pandemic Players, which was a virtual group
Yes.
during the COVID times with started by the wonderful Frank and Juby Radici, who I'm still trying to get them as guests on this show. Come on, guys.
Yeah, you should do it. It's fun.
Yes. See, they get it. They totally get it. And I believe the first reading that we did together, Phoenix, was a Golden Girls reading? Question mark.
I think so.
We did so many of them that it
Yeah, they
kind of
kind of like all blur.
yeah, they blend together after a while. But the first question that I have to ask Phoenix, as I ask all of my guests, is what got you bitten by the acting bug, the theater bug, the singing bug, the performing arts bug in general?
Well, it started off in church, of course. I'm a preacher's kid who turned out to be a flaming homo, so we already know how that works. Um, yeah, it started off in church. They threw me in the choir and kind of went from there. Then my mom introduced me to My Fair Lady. That's my core memory. But let my mom tell it, I knew the entire score to Victor Victoria by the time I was 4. So I guess it was always there. But but my mom introduced me to My Fair Lady, and that was what made me actually want to be on stage.
No, you're
And fast
reminding me of
forward,
the joke on Golden Girls. He was singing the entire chorus for Gigi.
yes, yes, that was me. Yes.
Yeah.
I am a Golden Girls joke brought to life. Uh
Not now, Ma. Oh, it's funny that you mentioned that because as we are recording this, it is the 9th of June. if you listen to episode 17 with my very wonderful guest, Tom Cat, you will appreciate that because Tom does is a drag performer and they dress up as Dorothy Zbornak from the Golden Girls. So
Oh, nice.
something to check out there. So yes, the very first reading that we did was a Golden Girls episode. I believe it was the one where Rose was in love with a colleague of hers who happened to be a little person, and I
Yes, because
played
I remember that now. I was Blanche.
yes, and I played Miss Jean Dixon.
Yes. And I was like, and since I'm from the South, I had to throw on the accent, which came really easily. And it was just
Now,
yes.
was it was it kind of like a culture shock thing to get used to doing the Zoom based readings, or did you take to it very easily?
Um, I kind of had to re-navigate things um in my head because from being on Zoom and things like that, it was always like it's a meeting, so you had to be reserved and all the other stuff because it's a meeting. But then using it for that medium, it I kind of like had to like I said, I had to train myself to get out of it to actually be myself, so that way I could get into that space to be that actor. I think it finally broke for me and it became more easy for me when we did the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reading, and I had to play Cheese. And for those who don't watch that cartoon, I would just recommend that you YouTube that and just see that this character is just unhinged and just very, very fun to play. But yeah, that
True.
was the thing. Hmm.
So, well, I mean, I it took a lot of getting used to it for me because I was so used to being on a stage. And then I'm just sitting there like, oh, so we could actually do whole shows right in our rooms, our offices, or wherever we set up our cameras. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess we can do that. So, I mean, at first, I was just like, I don't even, I've never done this before. But after a couple of times, I was starting to get a little more relaxed and a little more casual. And as you said, I was able to be myself. And well, there we go. It all worked out very
Yes.
easily. So now, as I mentioned, Frank and Julie Radici started the Pandemic Players, but you knew them before all this happened.
Yes, actually. I was looking for an outlet because I was unable to actually get on Broadway and stuff like that. So my friend, who was the organist at my church, was like, "Hey, this other church basement has a community theater, and you should try it out." And that was in 2013, I believe. And that's when I met Frank and Jubilee, and we've been friends ever since. In fact, I was the best person at their wedding.
You, well, you're the best person in general, but
Oh,
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 yeah.
you.
Oh, oh, shucks. I take big bills and checks.
Yes. And when I get big bills and checks, you will be the first person I contact.
Oh, oh, happy day. I was actually, strangely enough, I was in another virtual reading group And I forget who it was that was like, "Hey, you should try the Pandemic players. Just trust me on this. Trust me." Oh, okay. And it turned out to be the right choice. But the one thing that I absolutely love about doing readings with Phoenix is the fact that Phoenix has a very contagious laugh.
No, please don't do this.
Okay, so there have been moments during readings where funny things happen that break up the room. And I firmly believe that, at least, I mean, I can't speak for other people, but I firmly believe Phoenix laughing at these things make it more hilarious. Let me give you a brief example. Um, when we did the Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
Oh God.
and I played the problem guy, whose name I don't want to say because he's a douchebag, but I played the rock star.
A very distinct accent.
Very distinct accent. And there's a scene where between me and Chris Black, where Chris Black was trying to get his wife to be pleasured, and my character is supposed to help his character by basically just humping him in a chess piece. So I didn't have anything that could simulate Chris. So I just picked up my Goofy puppet and I started just dry humping the damn thing. And Phoenix's laughter grew more and more and more. And until it got to the point where everybody's cameras turned on one by one to just watch this spectacle of me humping the Disney puppet. And
I had to mute myself at some point because it just got really bad. I lost it.
I mean, I would probably lose it too if I saw an image of me humping a goofy puppet. Like, what is this very strange individual from Staten Island? What is he doing?
I was
So
inconsolable.
now you see right now I can't control myself. Um, and I think when we did the Bad Santa reading, did either one of you fornicate? And I mentioned this way back when I interviewed Chris Black, but apparently I broke Frank, which is, to my understanding, notoriously hard to do.
It really is.
So, and as I mentioned, little behind the scenes, little inside baseball. I had never seen the movie, and
It's true.
it was either Frank or Juby that was like, "Have you seen this movie before, right?" Oh, yes, absolutely. I knew John Ritter was played the character that I played, and I knew certain aspects of it, but I had never seen the full one. And you played, I think it was like a some kind of cop or detective or
I
private eye.
played the Bernie Mac character. I forgot his
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm. Who was chasing after Frank's character? I
Yeah,
don't
because
even
he was
remember.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah. And that was another one where everyone was just like, it was, but I think the best example of Phoenix laughter, as I call it, was when we did that absolutely off the wall Ferngully reading, where the script, I don't know who wrote the script, who wrote the transcript.
Yes. That script was so terrible.
Yeah. And somebody was doing the narration, and you're laughing. It's just like, and then Zach did it. Phoenix, shut up. And then Zach did this. Phoenix, shut up.
It was Elizabeth. I remember that. She's like,
Oh
Phoenix.
yes, it was Elizabeth. Oh
It was so bad. I remember one part, it was like Krista flew up to see what she could see, but she could see nothing and it was black. It was
yeah.
like,
Oh,
what?
did did Google Translate have a stroke? I don't know what happened.
Oh gosh.
But
Ah.
yes, so we had fun. We had a lot of fun. But we what I really liked about Pandemic Players is that we didn't just do like mindless comedies and whatnot. We did a lot of really dramatic pieces, a lot of tough
Mhm.
pieces, and one of the ones that I remember that Phoenix did that I thought was spectacular was your reading of Fences.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, I think that was your first I think it was your first time seeing me in dramatic.
I Yes, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. And I I really thanked Pandemic Players for kind of getting me outside of my comfort zone because it
Mhm.
made me not only perform shows that I would never think of doing, but it made me watch a lot of shows that I would never think of. Would you say that was the same experience for you?
Yes, it definitely did bring me out of my because I can be really stubborn when I want to be, and if I don't want to watch something, I will not. However, being in that group really did it broadened my horizon, so to speak. There were things that I was like, oh, I'll watch it when I get a chance to it, but I don't see myself watching it, but I ended up watching it and like, oh, okay, this is actually really good. It really did get me interested in other formats and things of that nature. Um, I really also liked the fact that pandemic players really strived to give you your dream role that most people would not give you because of the fact that you're not uh you know 90 pounds with green eyes and chiseled features and a six pack and all that, like all the stuff like
Right.
because Broadway does go by looks, and majority of us don't look like that. So I was really appreciative of that. Like I got to be when we did Chicago, I got to be Velma Kelly, which we know good and well they would not let my fat, black, masculine looking self do, unless it's like a drag performance or something like that.
Right.
I got to actually play that role, and it was definitely something that I really appreciated because you don't get those chances.
No, I mean, I've told this story before, but years ago, I tried out for Oliver, and the director basically came up to me and went, okay, Dean, here's the thing. You're too old to play Artful Dodger. You're too young to play Fagin. What do you want to do? So I said, well, what about Bill Sykes? So then she starts laughing at me. So I go, what's so funny? Oh, Dane, come on. You're too nice to play Bill Sykes. No one's gonna believe you. Um, Pretty sure that's the whole point of acting is to play a character.
Exactly.
Like I stood there for a second like you're kidding me, right? Like just because I'm a nice person, that means I mean it means I can play mean, nasty. You know what? Whatever. I didn't even want to like dignify it, but
Yeah, a few
yes,
years back, I auditioned for Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically said, "You're too big." And I don't think she meant as in fat. I think she just meant as in my presence.
I
I'm
feel
too
like
big to play Seymour. And I'm like, dude, like you never heard of like a gentle giant? Just because I'm like almost 6 foot and built like a linebacker does not mean I cannot be bullied. Does not mean that I cannot be meek.
I
Like,
feel like we had this discussion during one of the nights where we were all hanging out on Zoom, where we were saying like, why not cast a very like big built guy as Seymour and basically have them be like, okay, even though this guy's a tremendously buff, tough guy, all the years of being bullied by Mr. Mushnick, this person has no confidence. It
right.
can work.
It definitely can. I mean, and I also used Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile as a example because he towered over everybody, but he was still very much docile, and they were able to manipulate him and all the other stuff. And I show he's tired, boss. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like it can be done, and you just need to get out of the whole appearances type thing because I mean, I granted there are certain conditions needed to be met physically for certain roles, yes, but you can look outside of that box for certain things.
Right. You know, Phoenix mentioned earlier about getting out. We both mentioned getting out of our comfort zone and doing things that we normally wouldn't do. So Phoenix, does that mean that the reading for Super Mario Brothers, that's a go, right? We'll do that?
Oh, look at the time, gotta go.
Oh, well, I don't know what it is, but that's just one of those things that Phoenix just will not do.
I
I
will
made
not.
this I made this joke one night to him, and he's just like, Dane, I love you, but I'll kill you. No, just no. Like what is it about that movie that you don't like? Is it just because it's bad in general?
It is so bad. It's up there with Dragon Ball Evolution and The Last Airbender. I refuse.
One of these days I'll wear you down. We'll do it. I can be as stubborn as you are.
Well, get ready.
All right.
We will be in rocking chairs and ventilators, but it's
Oh, come on, Phoenix. It's the 90th anniversary of the movie. Please.
no.
No. No. So, yes. So after a while, theaters started opening back up again.
Yes.
People kind of slowly gravitated away from doing virtual readings.
Because life
And
happens.
just recently, Phoenix wrapped up show. And I believe, if I read my research correctly, this was your first time on stage in a while.
Yes, it was my this is my first post-pandemic show. The last show I did was 2019, right before the thing happened. We did Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, the Panini, and now I am back on stage. It was a original work. It was called Sound and Fury and Shakespeare. Um,
Now, for the viewers out there who are not aware, please give us a little summation of what that show is about.
Basically, it was it was works of Shakespeare combined with rock music to convey an overlying story. Um, the villain of the show is Iago from Othello,
Mhm.
and he is using the other characters from other works of Shakespeare, like Lady M and King M, because we don't say their names
Right.
because it's cursed. From the Scottish play. Then we have characters from like Mark Anthony and Cleopatra and so on and so forth in order to achieve his main goal, which is the ruination of Othello. Um, of course, in the process, the other characters, go through their own things in their own storylines. You know what? The best way to summation, I totally ruined that word, but it's all right. Um, think of it as Once Upon a Time, but Shakespeare.
Okay. Okay. I can dig that.
So it's like all the characters are in the well, it's not really the Enchanted Forest, but you get it. And yeah, and all the storylines interconnect in some way. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now you did this show with fellow pandemic player Jason Maxwell, I believe.
Yes, my best friend.
Your bestie.
He
And
was
you
Hamlet.
and who did you play?
I was the villain. I was Iago.
Oh, well. And so what songs did you sing to convey your most lugubrious evilness?
Well, my introduction song, weirdly enough, was "We Don't Need Another Hero" by Tina Turner. And
We
it
don't need another hero.
and I get it because like I get how it fits because like part of the reason as to why Iago hates Othello is because he's like a decorated soldier and he is in fact a hero. And he's like, we don't need one of y'all. Like
I
and
don't know.
yeah.
Hamlet, I don't want to fight no more. I will be your private dancer.
Oh gosh.
Ah, look at you, typical male.
Right.
Because remember,
But
because remember, that's a Tina Turner song too.
that definitely is. And but for me personally, the highlight song that I got to do that I looked forward to every night was we got to do me, Lady M, and King M got to do Dream On by and yeah.
Ooh. Now somebody developed this or that you
Yes, the director Gabby Finnis. I'm
ah
probably mispronouncing her last name, but yeah. She not only was she the director and the creator, she actually had to step in and play one of the characters because we had so many people dropping. In fact, the person who was playing my Desdemona, because you need a Desdemona,
mhm.
she dropped out. And we actually had to like rewrite the show without a Desdemona. So it kind of made things a little bit more difficult but we did it.
Oh dear, oh dear. That is the hallmark of a great group of people that you're able to on the fly kind of rewrite things and still make it work. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. By the way, I would be remiss. The person who introduced me to Pandemic Players was Jazzy Parr. Jazzy, I'm so sorry. I forgot your name.
Wow.
That I feel like if she knew that I forgot her name, she would probably kick my ass.
Yeah,
But
shame on you, Daniel.
yeah. Uh, I'm I'm hanging my head in shame right now. You can't see me, of course. Mm. So, now that you have gone back to the stage, do you have any other kind of auditions or projects coming up?
Right now, I'm going to enjoy my summer
Okay.
because this will be the first time in a very long time I actually will get to enjoy the entire summer.
Hey, listen, God bless it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I
Fantastic.
will probably end up going back with Parkside Players in the fall when they start their new season. Um, but if anything else comes along during the summer that piques my interest, I definitely will consider it. So keep me in the loop. I mean, I probably won't go all the way to Staten Island because rehearsals and things like that. and then I have work the next day. But yeah,
Whoa, wait.
anything more
Work,
local, let
work
me know.
around, work around. Weekend rehearsals. Ah,
Possibly.
yeah. Well. Anyway, so as I look at the old clock on the wall, the non-existent clock that's in this office that I'm in, I see that we are starting to rapidly run out of time, even though this has been fantastic. So the final question that I have for you,
Yes,
Phoenix,
dear.
my love, if somebody were to come up to you and say, "Hey, Phoenix, I want to get into acting, singing, performing," what would be the piece of advice that you would give them to best succeed?
Do not lose your integrity and always be yourself.
That is excellent advice.
Because many people have sacrificed those things to get ahead, and they have ended up in not really good places.
Hmm.
And because of the choices they have made, it ended up alienated, and they had no support system and all the other stuff. And like, you as a human being are nothing without your integrity, and you are nothing without staying true to yourself. And more people need to realize that.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Well, as our outro plays us out, I want to thank my very special guest, Phoenix Gray. Phoenix, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, and we will see you all on the next episode. So long, everyone.
Bye.
These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know. These are the performers I know.